Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. It's Lori and Lucille from The Squeeze on Thursday, May 7th. And it's episode 16. Is that right? Yeah,
Yes.
episode 16. 16!
I
What have
know.
we talked about? I said, what have we talked about?
Oh my gosh, all sorts of things.
All sorts of things. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. If you're here live, we really appreciate you coming live because we would love to talk to you today. We do not have a guest.
Nope.
And we are just going to talk about life during COVID-19. Got my daughter running around trying to get a cup of coffee because it's 9 o'clock here and the King house needs their coffee. Husband's right over here working on his computer going, make this short. I have things to do. And the 14-year-old son is still sleeping. So please.
I would be sure if I were 14.
Yeah, no kidding.
And it was 9 a.m. Yeah.
So we're just going to talk about our emotions, our feelings. We're hearing from lots of other business owners and other friends just struggling with the conflict of emotion, feeling guilty and then feeling good. I mean, I have a job. My husband has a job. So we're busy working. And then there are people who don't have jobs. And then I feel terrible for them. And then I feel guilty that I have a job. And
yeah, it's an emotional roller coaster ride.
Definitely.
Yeah. And some of it, sometimes the weather for me has a big impact too. Today is a lovely day and it helps my attitude, it just helps me. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to know from one day to the next.
Right, especially when you're reading new information coming out almost every hour and, being pulled in one direction, pulled in another. I've been trying to have conversations on Facebook. I don't know why I tried to do that. It's not my favorite platform. But I've tried to have open conversations like we do on Twitter, right, Lucille? Yeah. That's how we met. And I've been in leadership chats where we talk about our differing opinions. And I often notice that people aren't that polarized during these chats that we have had. We express our concerns and our thoughts and our stances on things, and then people do the same, and we have constructive conversations.
Yeah.
But I notice that it's not always constructive on certain platforms, and then that's frustrating for me.
Yeah, I think too, this particular subject, there's so much fear. People are carrying so much fear that just really, skews their ability to kind of stay neutral.
Exactly.
And yeah,
that's a good point.
And it's interesting too. And I really think, and it's funny. You put up a statistic this week that like a huge percentage of people are getting the news from Facebook.
I know. Actually, you put up something about Instagram, right? Isn't that funny?
I did. Yeah, it's like they're not getting because they don't go to Instagram for news. They go to Instagram to feel good and see great pictures and just to feel good. But anyway, so interestingly enough, that's the case. And
well, I think it's coming, right? People are sharing news everywhere, some kind of news, some kind of information.
And how do you know? How do you know what's the real news? To a certain degree, I mean, people are sharing all sorts of stuff. And it's funny, this morning I went back to my Twitter list that, I created around the time when you created it, and of all the health experts. And I was reading through and, but anyway, well, we can talk about that later. But you have to believe in someone, right?
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to go crazy, in terms of what. So sometimes I have days, I was telling you, that it seems like all in this situation, that like all my gremlins or my lizard brain just takes over.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm not doing enough, or it's just all those, that negative self-talk just kind of invades. And I
Right.
really have to bite it back, you know. And then other days, you know, it's so much better. But I imagine most everyone's feeling that way.
Right. I think everybody wants to crawl in back to bed and go back to sleep and wake up when this is all over.
Yeah, yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, you know, and
we're all human.
we're all human. And actually, that, I think I was telling you that the other day. I just had a day where I was like, I just want to pull the covers up over my head and just pretend that all of this is, you know, all of this is a dream, whatever. But yeah, and you talked about it, and it's great. You have Ardo. It's a wonderful account. It's very steady. I have accounts that come and go.
Mm-hmm.
So I still have a couple of accounts I'm working on, still working with them, and that is great. But you know, it's like, I don't know what next month or the month after.
Right. I have accounts that come and go as well.
Yeah.
I decided to just, what I have now is what I'm going to work on, to kind of give myself permission. I mean, I have kids trying to do homework, kids who need, you know, some like, I don't understand. What do I do now? And then I'm cooking, and I feel like I'm cooking more. Are there double the times that we need to eat right now? Because I am so sick of cooking. I'm trying to get my family to cook, but they won't do it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's welcome AJ is here. Thank you, AJ. I love you.
Hi, AJ.
Good mood.
That's great. Nice to see you here. Oh, and Kamud.
Yeah.
Hi, great to see you. Great that you're joining us. So yeah, we're talking about, you know, just how we're dealing or not dealing.
Right. AJ says, it's nice to know it's not just me. I'm up and down and up and down. So I'm glad you mentioned this, AJ, because this is exactly Monday. Lucille called me and said, what are we doing on Thursday for the squeeze? Right. And I said, I feel so guilty that I didn't call you, because I've been feeling like I just want to cancel. I just want to cancel it. But as we start talking and realizing we both have all these emotions and how hard it is, that was one of the reasons why we decided to do the squeeze, because we felt squeezed by everything. And no doubt COVID-19 is squeezing every single one of us. And we don't want to do this alone. We want to shine light on these problems because we don't want to feel like we're alone. We're sheltering in place. We feel like we're on lockdown, and we need to share these emotions so that we know that we're not alone. So I'm glad that you said that, AJ. You are not alone. Let me tell you.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah, it's a roller coaster for everybody. Yeah, it's funny. My father-in-law, who's 93, Lori, I think I told you this. He says, I feel like I'm in prison. And, you know, I do feel so bad. They're in a senior living facility. And they do, for the safety of these people who are so vulnerable. They really have a very limited, you know, movement, you know,
before the
meals in their room instead of going to the dining room. They can walk around, but they got to stay 6 feet apart. We can't take them out. We can't go in. So it's really, really challenging. It's really challenging.
It's already a challenge for them. And now their world's shrunk even more. Aw.
Exactly. So, you know, it's very tough. I've got a son out there that's a social worker, and his clientele, he sees people who have very serious mental illnesses. And he's been lucky enough to be able to work from home, but now he has to go into the office a couple of days a week.
When did you start doing that?
You know, next week he's going to have to do that. And we did see him after 7 weeks of not seeing him. Oh. And my daughter-in-law and my beautiful grandson, we saw him this weekend. And it was like, it was the best thing in the world, but there's a possibility I may not see him for a while, because Matthew's like, I really have to assess, what is going on, what's happening. And I'm like, but anyway, he's got to do what he's got to do. Right. And the other thing I just wanted to bring up that I think is a factor here in the United States, and is the fact that we don't talk about death very much. We do not have a comfort level with death. And I think that, we don't talk about it. We try to pretend that we're never going to die, and here comes the coronavirus, and we're hearing all these statistics and all these people who are dying, and it is freaking us out. Exactly. I think it might be freaking us out here in the United States than it's freaking other people in other countries, because we don't talk about death.
I think actually, my daughter, who's right behind this wall, we've talked about this, that death seems to be like, don't talk about it. Right. And I've had the conversation with her, like, I'm not in the age group. I'm approaching the age group. I don't seem to be someone who would have an issue, but if I caught this and I died, like, let me evaluate. My life has been damn good. I've been really happy. I've made sure I've told my family how much I love them. And if I were to die, I'm going to die. I don't believe my belief system. And I think this is where, like you said, all the news, all the stuff goes crazy. And then I get hyped up into this thing. And then I go, wait a minute, let's ground, get back to who am I? When am I? Why am I here? If I am here to die during COVID-19, I'm not going to stop that. I don't have the power over that. So here and so I have a peace around this. I have not been stressing too much, but I think because I don't stress too much, I feel guilty that I'm not stressing enough. I mentioned to you the other day. So my daughter, who's 16, is feeling like she's in prison and says, can we go out and get a coffee? Can we go out and go to a bakery? Let's buy bread from a bakery who needs to stay open. So we focused on keeping small businesses open in our community. Yes. Right. So here's the scoop with our family. We have 4 people. The boys have an A+, super duper A+ in staying at home, not going anywhere. They are doing almost nothing. The girls get a C, maybe lower.
I don't think
you guys come in and give me a grade. I don't think so. Grocery shopping mostly. Yeah. I wear a mask. I stay more than 6 feet if I can away from people. I make sure my face isn't in line of anybody spewing anything liquid out of their face. Let's just be honest. And I've been out trying to find a place on a bluff where I can see the ocean, because in LA, every single parking lot, beach, everything is closed. So I have felt strangled by this. Yeah. Right. And I stay home for the most part, but I think with people telling me I can't, I want to go out. I just got to take a drive or something. So I feel guilty because I see the signs flashing as I'm driving. Stay at home, save lives, stay at home, save lives. But so there's this, am I running away from, I'm trying to stay home, yet I just can't seem to. It's
Lori, and again, I think you have to have some self-compassion. And I think that, all of us need to get out. And if you do it in a safe way and you're conscious of other people, and not creating an unsafe, situation with them, I think it's fine. I think there's nothing wrong with it. You have to do what feels good. And in nature, going outside, I mean, that is the greatest healer right now.
And this is what started it, was when this whole thing started, LA had some weather that we typically don't have. I mean, it was actually a blessing because we're stuck in our house. Well, my house is 950 square feet, 4 people and a dog. That's not a lot of square feet per person when you aren't going outside because it's raining. So since then, it has been gorgeous. I mean, I bought a rug. We've gardened. I am out there every day. I go straight, get my coffee and go outside because I need to be outside. So I think this is also teaching us what we need out of life. I need to be out in nature. And Kumud's a person who I know goes on walks
all the time.
He's allowed to go on walks.
Yeah.
I know other people who are posting pictures on Instagram of their hikes in New Mexico and things. And I am so jealous. So I realized that I will incorporate this in some way because this is going to I'm going to be able to do this longer if I can just get outside in nature.
Absolutely. Yes. And you really have to honor yourself and what you can tolerate. And like I said, as long as you're doing it safely. Now, I just want to call attention. AJ put a comment here that I want to just focus on for a minute. She said, wow, I wish I didn't fear death and all the dying. For me, I think I'm haunted by my dad dying of AIDS and not knowing about that virus back in the early 90s. I'm having the same scary feelings. And that is so understandable.
Yes.
It is so understandable.
They have compared this to a lot of how they handle, the fact that I used to work, this is interesting, I used to work for Immune Response Corporation. It was a small biotech company in Carlsbad, California. We were working on a therapeutic vaccine for HIV infected people. And way back then, people didn't talk about it, in the very, very beginning, like, oh, we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to, la, la, la.
Right.
So, I mean, we don't want to get political here, but, there were people in our government leadership going, la, 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 everything's fine. We don't need to do anything. We're going to be fine.
Not going to affect us.
So no wonder you feel fear. I mean, and the fact that we are learning as we're moving through this. Right. Yesterday, I learned stuff that I had no idea about, and it kind of changed my perspective. So every day we are being educated on, because they're literally discovering new information every single hour practically.
And I find there's some hope in that too. I think there's hope because the longer we hang in there and don't go crazy about opening the whole country. And as we can see, the middle of the country now is getting more and more and more cases of COVID-19. Now, Massachusetts, we still have not had a steady downward, trend.
Right.
So we're not there yet. So I think
it worries me. The middle of America going through this problem reminds me of me watching way, way back when no one was talking about that. I'm watching Italy and Spain's numbers just skyrocketing. It's that, the lag time between getting infected and then being symptomatic of the disease and then the death issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Kumud also just said, the fear of death isn't abnormal. And it isn't. For most, he says, it is actually the fear of living or the life they didn't live or won't be able to live that scares them more.
Oh my gosh, I got chills.
And isn't that the truth?
Isn't that the truth?
God, I'm not going to see my grandkid grow up, or I'm not going to be able to have that wedding, or I'm going to die before I do this or do that. I remember, yeah. And I think that's very, very true. And it doesn't help us when we don't openly discuss what those fears are.
Right.
Because if we discuss them and not make them taboo, then I think it would take just a lot of the pressure and a lot of the fear. Like you said, if this is your destiny, right? There's a peace in that. If this is your destiny. But But yeah, and I asked my son, I said, Matthew, what are you the most afraid of? He's 30, he has a child. And he said, I'm afraid of somebody, and God forgive me if he'll have to forgive me that I'm saying this in public. But no, he said, I'm afraid someone I love is going to die, is going to catch this. They're going to die, and they're going to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to him, Matthew, we have no control. So you have to really give this to God.
Yes.
Or whatever, the divine, whatever you call it. We don't have any control here, right?
Right.
And so anyway.
I agree. I think the faith issue, because also if you take the numbers and you take how big our country is, I start going, I'm seeing my whole community has numbers. How many people are infected in my community? How many have died? And it is really low. So if I stop getting into the hysteria of it all and bring it down to what's happening, grounding right here.
Yeah.
Even though they say everybody you mention, everybody you run into has, you have to have that idea that you have it and they have it. But let's be realistic. I'm not trying to infect anybody, but I've been feeling really good. And I haven't heard anybody cough in public, sneeze in public. Literally, I have not heard any of this. So I just try to go back there and go, I'm going to move around cautiously, do my thing that keeps me happy so that I can wake up and be happy. Yeah.
And that you can go the long run. This isn't going to be over in a snap.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, here's the other thing. I told you we talked about this, is that I posted on our Squeeze Twitter platform. One thing came up was the whole fact Business Insider published a story about Sweden. Because a lot of people in our community, there's a community down south in Huntington Beach, Orange County, that have been protesting government. Governor Newsom wanted to close the beaches, and they had let's not swear, they had a fit. And they were protesting, and they're like, we want to be Sweden. We want to be Sweden. That's what I kept hearing. So this article by Business Insider was really interesting. They interviewed, I think, 11 people. And some of the people they interviewed were reacting in Sweden the way that their country is reacting. Like they're transplants from another country. They're in Sweden. And they're nervous, and they're talking to their family member, and they're acting as if the policy that their country has, that's what they're reacting to in Sweden. So it's and then there's the Swedish people who are like, we're going to be cautious, we're going to do our thing, but they're looking really good. And so you do wonder, like, do we really need our government saying, you got to do this and that and this? Governor Cuomo came out, I think it was yesterday, I posted that on the Squeeze, saying out of 100, don't quote me, I'm really bad at this, read the article, but I think it was 100 hospitals, 1,000 patients surveyed who came in were COVID-19 symptomatic into the hospital, but they were all self-quarantining at home. They were not nurses, they were not doctors, they weren't essential workers. So you sit there and go, okay, essentially that's my husband and my son getting COVID, not even leaving the house. But who's in that house? Like I wrote to a friend of mine who said, well, what do you think of this? And I said, I want to know more details about the people. Do you have extended family in that house? Does that extended family go out? Because if that disease comes into my house, it came from my daughter and I.
See, that's the thing with any study, right? Yeah. What are the other factors?
Really? Yeah. Hello, Peter. Who's making coffee? Can you not do that right now?
Can you share with us? It's fine.
Okay.
But no, it's like, what are the other factors? So you read a study. but we don't know what the other factors are. Oh, so anyway, two things. You want to hear two comments here. So you're usually the really good one with the comments. I'm usually off somewhere, but anyway, I am seeing these. So Ahmed said, so a quote, be as proud of the things you didn't do in life as things you actually did do. Steve Jobs. Interesting, Ahmed. That's interesting. And then Lillian Lake, hi Lillian, great to have you with us, said, everything you are talking about are opportunities presented by the virus. It's up to us to take these opportunities into the public as conversations. Yes, transmute the energy of disorientation and paranoia into something usable and positive.
Ah, love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's
Lillian, I think this is the first time we've seen you live, so thank you for coming.
Yes. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it, and if we can talk about it and share, because I felt so much better when I called you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I was just having a day. But so we have to share our feelings, but we also, like Lillian said, you've got to discuss these different thoughts or ideas that are being put out there. You have to vet them.
Right.
You have to vet them, and and you have to do what's right for you to a certain degree.
So Gabby Cardoza on Twitter, I saw a post from her recently because someone was talking about, we're all getting our news from, just like you said, you created your own list for the health,
right?
What's going on. I have a viral I think I call it viral talk. I'm getting my information from scientists, not politicians, because I really don't like the political spin on stuff. But that's interesting because I posted an article by one of the scientists that I have in this group in Facebook, and someone just ripped him apart and said, no, not this, no, not that. And I thought, ooh, that's interesting. So this was Dr. Faust, Lucille. So I sent him those comments and said, I know you're super busy. I won't get an answer if I don't ask, but I'm going to see, hey, what's your take on these comments? So I'll let you know if he ends up responding. But on that note, where are you getting your information? Do you trust the information? And Gabby wrote, we really need to teach people how to get information from reliable sources.
Yes.
And I totally agree with that. My kids question so much. My husband hates it because they question him. And I'm the father of the family, don't question me, but I want them to do this. That's how they are going to find facts in this world.
I totally agree. And I can't remember the philosopher or the who said, I think it was Camus, who said, question everything.
Right.
And you should, because that's what solidifies your beliefs or exposes them to that they're false.
Well, just because I have an opinion too, it doesn't mean it's right. I mean, this is based on what I know this much. I probably know this much. I'm saying this because tell me, give me your perspective. Tell me what I'm not seeing because, right? I mean, as soon as someone starts to talk to you, their perspective is coming from this angle or that angle. And then I'm like, oh, never thought of that. Yeah. That's how we get to the answers, isn't it?
That's how we get to the truth, right? That's what I think. And then there's that certain factor of, you can only control so much. You can control your sphere. So for me, I like to think, you send out love, you send out compassion, you try to live that way. You try to interact that way. You do your best. You try, and we can't, this is when living in the present moment is so critical to our mental health. And you brought up the fact that this is Mental Health Month.
Right. Yes.
All right. And that's where it gets critical. It's critical because if we think too far into the future, it makes us absolutely crazy. But if you can stay in the present moment, it helps. It's a relief.
Yeah.
It's a relief. And if we can, and if we can calm our own little gremlins.
Well, I'm a firm believer as well that we are all stuck where we are stuck. I mean, you're stuck where you are on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. I'm stuck in my little area. All my friends who have been talking to me, they're stuck, and we're all stuck with our own gremlins.
Yes.
Old stories. We're
Yes.
working on stuff, people. This is all transformation for the better.
Right.
Focus on that. Then, hey, yay, I woke up to another day in COVID-19. What are we going to do?
I know. And Lori, you've got that is such a great point, because that's what I kind of came to with all these this old baggage that I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought I got rid of that stuff, but I hadn't. And this is really giving us the opportunity. And Kumet, I've heard him call this the great pause.
Oh, I like that.
Yes. And, it really is giving us an opportunity to really examine, where we are in our life. Are we living the life we want to live?
Right.
And it also allows us perhaps the opportunity, definitely, to, you need to be able to eat. And my heart breaks. I mean, I'm part of a small business association, and I am seeing my friends really struggle. I mean, this is their income. So, I mean, I know we can talk about these lofty, ideas, but when it comes, you got to have food on the table too. However, go ahead. No, I was going to say, but I have seen people be just magnificent in their generosity.
Yeah.
And, just really trying to help out everyone so that they make it through.
Right.
This.
That's another issue that we talked about that I really wanted to bring up. And we didn't want this to be too long. And, we do have people in the room. So if they're here, and feel free to leave whenever you want. But seriously, the problem for me is, if I talk from my perspective, I have a job, my husband has a job, I can go out to the local stores and buy stuff and help them. And I was sharing this so one of my clients wanted to share on Instagram about the restaurants that are struggling, in order to kind of put some light on these restaurants and saying, like, this restaurant is selling toilet paper along with any, so you buy a meal and you get a roll of toilet paper. And that was way back when, I don't know now, I have toilet paper. It took me 5 weeks to get toilet paper. I don't know what the toilet paper situation is now, except that I did go to the store last week and no toilet paper on the roll, except on the shelves, except for single rolls, just single rolls. That's it. But that's not my point. My point is that if I talk from this perspective, saying, go to this, if you can get takeout at this place, then I get someone saying, I have nothing. I've lost my job. I am crying. I'm under the sheets. And I'm like, I'm sorry. This message isn't for you then. This message is for those who can. So there's always this, we can say our piece, but we've got to say all this other stuff to make sure you're okay and you're okay. And it's just exhausting.
It is exhausting. And I have found that. And I think I said that to you too. But that's being kind of almost having, feeling that you need to be PC, right? Yeah. And I think that we each have to speak, our truth and have compassion for people who may be in different positions
Right.
that we're in. It's very tough. Lillian had commented and said, again, she said, live in the moment, but don't own it. Remember to rise above what doesn't feel right to our heart. Heal what needs to be healed. Heal what needs to heal, then let it go.
Yeah, easier said than done. I 100% agree with you. But when it's hard for you, it's hard. It's really hard. And then AJ mentioned about, what happens when you're so curious. You're so curious that you're always seeking information. Oh my gosh, now I know why we're friends, AJ. I am insatiably curious. Being in this family unit, I notice even more because some people in my family aren't curious about anything. I'm like, aren't you curious about that? And they're like, no, I'm curious about everything, to the point where they tell me, why do you care? Why are you thinking about this? So I've really had to rein in, when I start feeling, I'm not feeling good, this isn't feeling good, I need to go, okay, get to that present moment, as you just said, Lucille, and calm down, and maybe I need to turn it all off. Turn off every single platform. Don't answer the phone. Don't watch TV. Sit out on my couch outside and just breathe.
And I think that, is a critical strategy, because I know I'm not watching a lot of news. I keep up. But I do think the news is focused on the negative right now, and focused on just reporting. They're not telling the good, the feel good stories. I find that with the nightly news, especially. It's just
AJ, I love what you wrote. It says, I saw a quote about all of us being in the same boat, but really we are not all in the same boat. We are all in the same storm.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
Listen to this. Some have life rafts, some have sailboats, and some have yachts.
Oh my gosh, that is so perfect.
That is so true. That is so true.
It really is.
So and I've seen this, who do you want to be in this pandemic? If they shine a light on you, who do you want to be? I don't want to be the one on the yacht. I want to be the one who's pulling people out of the water.
Right.
That's who I want to be. And we can't control what other people want to be. Some people want to be on that yacht.
Yes, they do.
I can't help that. And I can't waste my energy worrying about that. I will be pulling you out of the water.
Yeah. And I would have to agree, I would have to agree with you. I definitely, want to be the helper. And I want to be the helper. And that's what you do, right?
So you are, right? Look at your Twitter handle. What does it say? Kindness and compassion. I mean, that is you. You live that. You live that.
Right. I try, none of us are perfect. I do try. And but that is so true, AJ. Absolutely. We are in the same storm, but we're all on different boats.
Yeah.
In different situations. And we have to just understand that is the truth.
Right. And then my wonderful spiritual teachers who are in my life constantly say, you need to take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
The whole oxygen mask. You need to meditate. You need to block everything out and sit in your yard and breathe. Block everything out and then sit in the yard and read. Once you are okay, and then give of yourself. You need to give, but you also need to receive.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a good balance, you're not going to survive. And if you do your part, and everybody does their part, and there's so many good people out there, we're just going to raise the vibration of the universe. I believe that.
I do too. I believe that 100%. I believe that 100%. As well, that we can do, the more of us that put light out into the world, and the good vibes, helps to raise the entire vibration.
Absolutely.
And that is how we're going to beat this.
I agree.
Truly beat this is by doing our own individual part to put out the positive. I can see, yeah, you were both laughing at AJ's
I was not laughing at you.
I know, no, I saw it pop up too. No, so what it is, the AJ, I want to be the helper who has the yacht. And that's not a bad thing.
I love that.
Yeah, because you know what? There are people who are in the yachts who are helping in tremendous ways.
Yes.
Who are spending, you know, and investing in, you know, like PPE and you know, treatments and food banks or whatever.
Back to
I like that.
2 shows ago. So if we're on 16, this was episode 14, where Armin Alagian picked up his wallet and he said, "You need to vote with this."
Yes.
That is the point. So those people with the yacht probably have businesses. You spend your money on those businesses that are doing those things. Right. And get the ones who are not doing that. That's how you're going to elevate this country. Keep those people in business.
Yeah. The companies who are being socially responsible. Amen. Yeah, and I think that is absolutely the best thing we can do is vote with our wallet, just like Armin said. And you know, that's a big part of our doing this show, right? We want people to talking about voting. We started this show because we wanted to try to shine some light on subjects that people are struggling with in the United States, so that when they get to November and they have to vote, or whenever elections come up throughout the year, I mean, November happens to be a very big election here in this country, that they may have some additional information that will be helpful for them.
So another thing I wanted to bring up, and we should, you know, see if we want to wrap soon, but I went on Tim and Jim's show yesterday, and they talked about, they had Susan Giddings on. She talked about selling in any economy. So she addressed what Armin had talked about as well in that episode was, you know, we feel guilty making money, yet we have to make money in order to survive. I have a mortgage. I have to put food on the plate. I mean, you know, come on. But we feel guilty. And she just said, how can you feel guilty for making money? She just thought that concept was just crazy. But she also took it back to just remember, from a small business point of view, if you come to your clients and your customers with the idea of how can I be of service? How can I help you? And you're not selling, I've got to sell in order to, you know, make my mortgage. That's a whole different vibe. But if you come at them and say, what do I have that I'm selling that can help you?
Yeah.
That is the way to, and I just loved, I'm like, oh, relationship marketing. Yes, this is, I always hated the whole sell, make your quota. It's just gross to me. But when you come off more from a feeling standpoint and how can I help you, you get a lot farther in this world, if you ask me. Yeah.
I think that's absolutely true. And I think that sell is so old school.
So old school. But some people can't seem to let go of it.
I know. Yeah. I guess it takes a little bit more creativity and vulnerability to you know, create, and a little bit more work to create those relationships. But that's the winning strategy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Jim is here. Jim Fuse, hi. I don't know if you were here when I mentioned your show, but I was talking about Susan Giddings, what she shared yesterday, because I thought that her points were really, really good about, you know, focusing on service, relationships, business and sales is all about relationships. And those are the kind of companies that I like to work for, because that's where that's who I can get behind. I can elevate any company that cares, you know?
Right. So you can put your heart into it. You know, I find the same way with my clients. I want to work with people who I can identify with their mission. And that makes me work even harder. And I'm happy to do it.
Right.
You know, so I've been fortunate to have, you know, clients that I believe in their mission, you know. Exactly. So oh, Joe, I love Jim, I love Joe. Chick-fil-A says, how may we serve you? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how may we serve you?
Right.
Boy, what a great way, what a great perspective.
Exactly.
And that'll get us through. I think anyway.
I'm with you.
All right, Lori.
Let's wrap it up. Yeah. Oh, look, Christy came
in. Hi. Yeah.
You're so sweet, Christy. Yes, I can elevate any company that cares. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
And the more, and just like Lucille said, the more they care, the more I can put my heart into it. I mean, it's like my family wonders why am I working at 10 o'clock at night? You know, I love what I do. And I love the fact that I'm working from home.
Yeah.
I can work anytime. You know, during the day, oftentimes I'm not doing anything for work because I'm trying to stay out of everybody's way so they can do what they need to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I work at weird hours because I can, and I love that. I love the flexibility.
And it is a little bit of a negotiation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, so this, I think, this has been awesome. The potential.
Yes, thank you to everyone.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone.
Shared their views.
Yeah. Jim, yeah. Yeah, Jim wrote, I love how, he just corrected his how Chick-fil-A says, how may we serve you? So we hope everyone, thank you, AJ and Jim and Christy and Kamud and Lillian for joining us today. And Jim likes my green screen.
Jim, when I saw her green screen, I knew it was a green screen. I'm like, I see Jim Fuse all in that.
Yeah. And I know I'm gonna really download some other backgrounds. I haven't had a chance, and so this is what we went with today. And God, I need my haircut. I can't. I'm noticing myself constantly putting my hand up because my bangs are falling into my face. Yeah. But anyway, I might just shave it off. Stay tuned for the next squeeze.
Oh, I can't wait.
Or put little ponytails in.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks. Right. Oh, dear me. Laughter is the best. So anyway, yeah, thanks everyone.
So don't forget, one of the reasons we started this was all about voting.
Yes.
If you haven't registered to vote, vote. Please vote. Vote all the time, local, state, federal. That's the reason why we started the squeeze, because we feel squeezed because our elected officials do things that make us feel. So.
Yeah, and continue to vote with your wallet, like you said earlier.
I'm going to add that. Please register to vote and vote with your wallet. We got to change our banner.
So the final thing is subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will see you in 2 weeks. And thanks so much. It's been great.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, and stay well.
Yes, please.